Ladies and gentlemen, breaking news. And I had to wake up this morning because I just woke up out of my sleep and the TV was still on. And I had to wake up to this. We just learned that the director of the National Counterterrorism Center, Joe Kent, has just announced he's resigning. CNN national security reporter Zachary Cohn is joining us right now. Zachary, what more can you tell us about this dramatic development?
Yeah, Wolf, this appears to be a significant resignation at the senior most levels of the Trump community. This is Joe Kent. He was the director of the National Counterterrorism Center. He appearing to post on X a resignation letter that he submitted, citing misgivings over the Trump administration's decision to launch its war with Iran. Now, Kent in this letter writes in part, quote, as a veteran who deployed to combat 11 times and as a Gold Star husband who lost my beloved wife Shannon in a war manufactured by Israel, I cannot support sending the next generation off to fight and die in a war that serves no benefit to the American people, nor justifies the cost of American lives. Now, Kent, in his apparent post on X, does also seem to suggest that there was no imminent threat, that it has been used and cited by the Trump administration as justification for launching this war against Iran. He says that essentially the administration.
Down there. Let me see. After much reflection, I have decided to resign from my position as director of National Counterterrorism Center, effective immediately. I cannot in good conscience support an ongoing war in Iran. Iran poses no imminent threat. Iran poses no imminent threat. Iran poses no imminent threat to our nation. And it is clear that we started this war due to pressure from Israel and its powerful American lobby. It has been an honor to serve under whatever that is. I don't even know how to read it. And leading a professional at NCTC. God bless America. Let's continue.
Manufacture this idea of an imminent threat, and that is part of the reason why he's deciding to resign from his post today.
Let me read a little bit from this letter that he wrote to President Trump. This is Joseph Kent. He works for the Director of National Intelligence, Tulsi Gabbard. When he writes this, he says, I cannot in good conscience support the ongoing war in Iran. Iran poses no imminent threat to our nation, and it is clear that we started this war due to pressure from Israel and its powerful American lobby. I support the values and the foreign policies that you campaigned on in 2016, 2020, 2024, which you enacted in your first term. Until June of 2025, you understood that the wars in the Middle East were a trap that robbed America of the precious lives of our patriots and depleted the wealth and prosperity of our nation. And he added this, in your first administration, you understood better than any modern president how to decisively apply military power without getting us drawn into never-ending wars. You demonstrated this by killing Qasem Soleimani and by defeating ISIS. He goes on and says more, Sabrina, but those are powerful words.
I think what's also important here is this is an appointee that was not someone that you should consider not aligned with the president. I mean, this is someone that espouses the MAGA base views and was appointed by, of course, Tulsi Gabbard. And so the fact that he has issued a very public resignation and the fact that he's also said that Iran did not pose an imminent threat to the United States, a case that was made by Donald Trump multiple times and many other officials in this administration, including the Secretary of Defense, Pete Hegseth, the Secretary of State, Marco Rubio, saying that Iran posed an immediate threat to the United States. And he's someone that clearly had access to intelligence matters, saying that they did not. I think you could potentially see other resignations from this administration, people deep within the MAGA base that do not support this war of choice. And frankly, it is a war of choice. It is something.
He allowed them all in. He allowed them all in China is going. Wait, he allowed them all in China.
is going to be one that benefits from all this. They could become the next world superpower. Elaborate a little further so I can get the gesture of it.
Thing that the president chose to do, and he has said, kind of on his own conscience, that he decided to initiate this war as well.
Yeah, he even said that he got Israel on board.
Yes.
But in this letter, Joe Kent says he believes that this is started because of pressure from Israel and its American lobby. I'm wondering, General, what you think about one of the last lines here. He says, "You can reverse course and chart a new path for our nation, or you can allow us to slip further toward decline and chaos. You hold the cards." I'm wondering at this point, several weeks into this war, you have Iran saying that the Strait of Hormuz will never go back to the conditions where it was before. How do you chart a new course?
He needs to cut his losses, that being President Trump. He needs to cut his losses and shut this down as quick as he possibly can. That would be the best thing at dissolution. I'm not sure
Good luck with that.
Capability and wherewithal to actually do that politically. But I mean, this is not going well, and it's going to get worse. And bully for Mr. Joe Kent for having the political courage to stand up for what he believes. This is a guy that's a big-time MAGA supporter, has always been, very much like Marjorie Taylor Greene, who you had on your show yesterday. I mean, these are significant resignations from the MAGA world, and people.
I'm just waiting. I'm just waiting for Trump to call Mr. Kent a traitor too. I mean, look at it this way. They might as well all be traitors because your most important people are leaving a sinking ship for obvious reasons. Of course, you started a war that didn't need to be started. You tank our allies, you talk trash to our allies, the ones from NATO, simply because they're not American enough. But Israel is. Britain is America for you. They share the same America ideas as you. I think he needs to look into his history. But Trump doesn't care about either one of those. I don't think he knows a lot about history. He knows a lot about money. He knows a lot about money. He knows a lot about losing fucking money. But I don't think he knows about history. So he tanks our allies, dumps them, tries to take over their main lands. And then, I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, didn't he try to sucker punch the metaphorically? Didn't he, not physically, but metaphorically, didn't he try to sucker punch the people in the Supreme Court? I can't name them. I can only name one person, and that's the biggest coon of all history, Clarence Thomas. I mean, think about this. Think about this entirely. Hey, Bridge. So this guy is absolutely smart. He knows when we're losing a losing battle because a lot of people are dying. We have over the total amount of people who are having boots to the ground. They're deleting, and they're deleting at a very rapid pace. But you want to send more troops out there to defend your war? Nah, we ain't going.
Need to take note, and I hope that this leads to the resignation of other members of the administration, because he is absolutely spot on target. This is not in the best interest of the United States to continue this war, and President Trump needs to shut it down as quickly as he possibly can.
Let me read another.
He ain't gonna shut nothing down because he's too prideful. Nah, he Donald John Trump shut down? Nah, he too prideful for that. He wants to exceed what Obama had done. Obama, 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 Obama. He wants to undo what Obama has did in the past years and put his name on it. What? My goodness gracious. And then, of course, him and Joe Biden go back and forth, and they're in the same bed together. But anyway, he hates Obama. More importantly, he hates himself. And this is one of the reasons why he's doing it. He made a deal with the devil, like he always seemingly does. And you wonder why people are dying all around him. People ain't betraying him. People are just leaving because you said the first inauguration, you said that you were going to make this country great by lowering prices, the, the lowering gas prices, lowering food prices. It has skyrocketed ever since. $120 million a barrel because you want to steal oil from everybody else. Instead of just drilling at home, which these MAGA lovers are expressing to you, Mr. Trump, they're expressing to you that this was nonsensical. This was unnecessary. All you had to do was just drill a hole in the United States. Know where your oil refineries are and we have riches here in the United States, but we want to be greedy. No, it's not the fact that we want to be greedy. It's the fact that you were duped a lot of money because you lost a lot of money. You may have gained a lot of money, but you have lost a lot of money because of your ill will deals. Now that you're the president of the United States, you figured you were earned a lot more. You were earned reparations, remember? And now that people are leaving your organization, you feel some type of way. And you have to answer sooner than later to the House.
A sentence or two from his resignation letter. As a veteran and deployed to combat 11 times, and as a Gold Star husband who lost my beloved wife Shannon in a war manufactured by Israel, I cannot support sending the next generation off to fight and die in a war that serves no benefit to the American people nor justifies the cost of American lives.
You didn't even have a plan going in there. Did this administration, yes or no? I want to know from the audience, did this administration, the Trump administration, have a plan going into Israel? Yes or no?
I mean, we've already seen 13 American service members die in this war. Over 200 have been injured, and their conditions have ranged from very serious to some have been returned to duty.
Wait, what?
American service members die in this war. Over 200 have been injured, and their.
Did you hear that? Did you hear that? Over 200. That's too many bodies going in. And plus, your bases are deleting. 27 naval bases are deleting. Because you went in there without a plan, a strategy. You just said go in there and just bombs away. You killed children. I was about to get to that. You killed innocent children. You killed more than 100, below 150 innocent children. You are mainly responsible for not knowing what the fuck you're doing. And mind you, this is all because of a fucking Nobel Peace Prize. You felt some type of way with your old wrinkly ass. But this is what these people voted for. I didn't vote for him. Did anybody in here vote for him? I sure as hell didn't. Get the likes up, please.
Conditions have ranged from very serious to some have been returned to duty. But I think, we've heard Pete Hegseth say this time and again that more Americans could lose their lives. And I think this letter makes it very clear. Is that worth it? Is that worth the cost? And this is someone that's obviously gone to war on behalf of our country and seen the cost that it takes, not just on the people who are putting their lives on the line, but on the country. And so I think it is really important that not only is he putting this out today, but this is someone that is a deep figure within the MAGA base and someone that is aligned with the president and is breaking very publicly with him.
And it's personal for him, as you noted, Wolf, that his wife was killed in Syria in 2019 by an ISIS bomber. I just want to go back to you, General. Clearly, you don't agree with this war. But at the same time, Israel is saying that it has taken out more top Iranian officials, including one who has been overseeing a lot of what Iran has been doing in its counterattacks. And I just wonder if you see any progress, any benefit so far from this war in terms of safety toward the United States. Because
let's try to get the likes up to 10 at least. Yeah, let's try to get these likes up.
I commend the military performance thus far in the war. I mean, it's been superb. And look, no one's shedding any tears for the Khomeini's demise and a new Ayatollah and the aggressive nature that they have had towards in the region and been a threat in the region. I mean, I'm all for doing something about the Iranians, but we were not provoked. And the problem here is that we're in the middle of a long war, at least a long war for them. I mean, I remember what Henry Kissinger said about Vietnam. He said that the Americans will lose by not winning, and the Vietnamese will win by not losing. The Iranians just want to sustain themselves, stay in power as long as they possibly can, continue to harass the United States, like attacking Baghdad and the embassy there and whatnot, and stay alive long enough so that they can claim victory. And that's what they will do if they do this long enough.
But let's go actually to the White House where we're going to find our cut on
Wait. For anybody sensitive of the thing that I'm going to say, y'all can drop the hell off. But I need to say this in all sincerity. And this is the reason Muhammad Ali went to prison. I'm steadily asking myself, why is the United States constantly getting into wars they shouldn't be getting into? Each and every single time they strategize it, we're gonna take this nation out, or we're gonna take this nation out. We're gonna take these people out, or we're gonna take these people out because it's the right thing to do by America. They didn't bother me, and they certainly hell didn't bother you either. I don't shed no tears for them jokers over there either. I don't. But apparently, if there's a bully that lives thousands of miles away and he's doing bully stuff to his own people, what the hell that got to do with me? Don't we have our own problems here in America? War, death, disease, destruction, poverty, filth, hunger, SNAP benefits being taken away? Don't we have our own issues here in America? Racism, prejudiceness, hangings, the Ku Klux Klan, skinheads. Don't we have our own issues here in America? Democracy. Over there, terrorism. Over there are a third world country for a reason, my friends. There are a third world country for a fucking reason. I mean, man, sometimes I wish I was in Africa right now. On the in parts of Kenya and the parts of Ghana. They experience nothing but peace over there. Everything has to be everything has to center itself around war because war makes money. Let's keep it a bean. War makes money because it also has, if you look into the Ouija board, if you solve the Ouija board, if you solve the cube, so to speak, you will find that war has opium, drugs, child trafficking, human trafficking, all of that centered in one war scheme because it makes money. War makes money off of those things. When we look into our communities, for example, when we look into the Black communities, everybody wants to say they sell drugs, they use drugs, blah, 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 blah. How? When we didn't have no boats, no ships, we didn't have no airplanes. The Italians simply dropped that shit off on our neighborhoods. Too bad we ended up picking that up and using it for personal gain. And all of it was wrong, but if you didn't take away needless to say, war is the reason why America is one of the main reasons, in my opinion, in my humble opinion, is one of the reasons why the United States dibble and dabbles in war in the first place. And mind you, don't we owe, well, not we, but doesn't the US, aren't they at least $70 trillion in debt? But Trump has the nerve to say we're going to give $100,000 to Greenland. We're going to give $2,000 to the people in the U.S. First, it was $5,000. That's unbelievable. First, it was $5,000. Then it was $2,000. Where's the $2,000 at? I went to my mailbox, looked at my Trump prize, nothing. But he wants to sell you a bag of goods. That is Trump for you. We all sit here and we all make fun of the fact that immigrants coming to this country. You know, me personally, I'd rather deal with a whole bunch of immigrants than deal with Trump right now. I'd rather deal with a whole bunch of, I'm talking about the good ones. I'm talking about the ones that come over here and they do nothing but work and feed their families and mind their own fucking business. I'm not talking about the ones that jump over here and make a whole bunch of crimes. And that's a small amount of them. A very small amount. And we want to cause this big fuss for a small amount of people who come into this country and make a whole bunch of fucking noise. And you make it, and and it still is in my mind that you would point fingers at Jasmine Crockett and say, this is not the one for you. This is not the one that will represent us in the Senate. Y'all said that. You Hispanics said that. I didn't say that. Whites didn't say that. Y'all said that. Uh-oh. And the whole thing just went dead. Ooh. Fortunately for me, I got a. Let's continue.
Any responses coming from the administration? What's the latest, Kevin?
Yeah, nothing official yet from the president, although we're expecting to see him any moment now in the Oval Office with the Taoiseach of Ireland. He's here for St. Patrick's Day. But you do hear, officials who are within the Trump orbit beginning to sound off on this. One former White House official described Joe Kent as an egomaniac.
For those who are just now coming in here, like, share, and subscribe, like, share, and subscribe. For those who are just coming in here, my man right here on the TV screen just resigned from Trump's administration. He was responsible for the single counter-terrorist unit, and he decided to go ahead and just jump off the sinking ship because he had expressed that his wife, please remind me, his wife had died in wars like this, and I'm blanking out. Needless to say, he expressed a very truthful consensual letter to Donald Trump, and I'm just waiting, just like Marjorie Taylor Greene and others. I'm just waiting for Donald Trump to call him a traitor. I'm just waiting to call the traitor. By the way, they're spraying on me by using mind control. Who's using mind control on you? You gotta be more specific, blood.
Someone who is resigning this position in a quite a high-profile fashion, and I think that is probably along the lines of what we will hear from the president if and when he decides to respond to this. But I do think it will be difficult for him to entirely dismiss this resignation as someone, with Trump derangement syndrome, as someone who is a Trump enemy, as he does so often, just because Joe Kent has so often.
Can anybody hear this? Because I could turn it up if you can't hear it.
Of the party. That's how he ran as a candidate for Congress 2 times in Washington State, and it is why he was selected for this position in the first place. His confirmation was not an easy one by any means. He was, very narrowly confirmed by the Senate, and all of these questions about conspiracies around the 2020 election, about potential ties to white nationalists, all arose in his confirmation hearings. And for all of those reasons, I think it will be difficult for the president to sort of entirely distance.
See, I'm a good host, and it's time to shave again, but I'm a damn good host. I do what I can. All right. Y'all beautiful people. Y'all some beautiful people up in here. Let's continue.
Himself from this individual who is now coming out very publicly decrying some of the perceived rationale for the war in Iran. And I do think it will also put in a very difficult position Joe Kent's boss, the director of national intelligence, Tulsi Gabbard, who has espoused, in previous lives, the very same positions about questioning the adventurism of previous iterations of the Republican Party, questioning nation building.
Get the likes up, people.
She, too, was a veteran, just like Joe Kent. And so putting her, I think, in a difficult position. But certainly we expect to hear from the president very soon, and hopefully he will be asked about all of this.
We'll see what he says. All right, Kevin Liptak, thank you very, very much. I want to bring in CNN K-File senior editor Andrew Kaczynski, who's joining us on the phone. Andrew, I know you had previously reported that Joe Kent gave previously unreported interview back in 2022 to Grayson Arnold, a Nazi sympathizer and white nationalist. A spokesperson for Kent, who was then running for Congress at the time, said, and I'm quoting him now, Joe Kent had no idea who that individual was when he encountered him on the street, and Joe Kent has repeatedly condemned the statements that the individual is accused of making, end quote. Andrew, what more can you tell us about Kent's past?
Well, look, Joe Kent's resignation is dramatic, but it's really not particularly surprising if you look at his record. He's a former Green Beret, he did numerous tours overseas. His first wife, Shannon, was a military member who was killed overseas in a suicide bombing in Syria that targeted U.S. troops. What's remarkable here, too, is that he entered politics in 2021 to primary a Republican who had actually voted to impeach Trump. He had 2 failed bids for Congress. And when he entered politics, he specifically said it was in part because he witnessed, and this is a direct quote from one of his videos launching his campaign, the failures of the government establishment in keeping us at war in the Middle East, watching officials that he said, quote, lie about regime change wars. And during that campaign, both campaigns, he railed against the military-industrial complex, he railed against endless wars. In one of the interviews he gave, he literally...
This lady in the middle right here. She is the biggest kiss. Why don't you just pull down Trump's pants and just kiss his whole ass? Can somebody fill in the blanks for me? This half of a hermaphrodite looking just you kiss more ass than no, I'm lying. Pam Bundy kisses more ass, but you better be glad I'm a Christian.
He said, let's not start a new war with Iran. That was a 2021 interview. At the same time, as you mentioned, he has been a polarizing figure during his congressional run. He did face repeated scrutiny over contacts with far-right figures and extremist.
Oh, please, Barb. She got another job.
And of course, he works for Tulsi Gabbard, who before joining the administration had a long history of opposing war with Iran. And not that long ago, just 5-6 years ago, she was literally selling, as she ran for Congress, merchandise that said no war with Iran on her campaign website. So this also puts a lot of questions.
Good resume.
As been mentioned here. But ultimately, I do think that his resignation here reflects his...
So that's all over. So you are resigning because of what the Trump, well, let's not call it the Trump administration, Trump himself is doing over there in Iran, and not realizing that something big like that you have to strategize for. Trump thinks just because we're, the U.S. is the biggest, baddest military force in all of history, that might be true, but stupid is what stupid does. Got to be smart about these things, and you have to have plan, you have to have strategy, and he carries no military strategy, none of that. Donald Trump is not a war hero. He's an asshole, and all assholes do asshole things. Well, let me take that back. He's stupid. Stupid is what stupid does. And what he possessed is what help me out. Something from his daddy. Prejudiceness. He inherited that from his daddy. Old Fred. He inherited that from old Fred. So a lot of people are jumping ship, as Lisa, you did say that. You did say that a lot of people are jumping ship. Not only a lot of people are jumping ship, but it just
everybody complains the rich are getting richer, right?
And have you not
sorry,
paid
I was
attention to the
distracted.
Trump tax cuts? You forgot about that? You talking about the thing that's giving over $170 billion a year in tax cuts to the richest 1% of Americans? You forgot about that?
I'm
You
sorry.
just think that's not happening.
And another thing. And another thing. The what my man has just addressed, and I'm not a tax guru person. What about all the money for planes? Oh yeah. He Are you talking about the ones where he bought like this big giant plane and was going to he did that's only part of it. We might as well just go ahead and put the whole thing on the table. You know what I mean? The White House, the tearing down of the White House, the buying of the planes and the ships, and buying, people's, one, maybe two planes to get where they need to go. Kiss and pay. I'm surprised they ain't fucking. I'm not surprised him and Pam Bundy ain't fucking, or possibly maybe even they all fucking each other. They all having just smashing one another. I was supposed to come with that terminology, smash. I'm gonna tone down on the cussing and just say the word smash. Okay, they smashing one another. Let's just keep that a buck. They smashing one another. Pam Bondi, Christy knows they smashing Trump, thinking they getting something out the deal. But once the smoke is all clear, once it's all said and done, you're not going to be able to do that anymore. And all the planes are going to be gone. All ask Omarosa. Seriously, ask Omarosa what happens when you stop smashing. Okay, all the planes are going to be gone. All the access to this and that is going to be gone. All that's going to be gone if you betray him. And I guess Marjorie Taylor Greene said, "No, I'm married. I'm an American. I'll support you with money though." It's like, cool, all right. What about the Epstein files? Bitch, you don't come up with the Epstein files. It's like, wait a minute. This is the American way. This is the American way to do it. Just get the fuck out of here. You're fired. Don't come out with nothing. They don't need to know nothing because you're guilty, and you're guilty of all counts. Just like Elon Musk is guilty, just like Bill Gates is it. We're not stupid here. We're not stupid. We're not stupid people. We can see the forest from the trees. We can see the bull crap come from miles and miles away. And now it's starting to show in this administration. It's starting to show. You look outside your walls, you see gas prices rise. Right now, it's steady. It's like $4.40 a gallon over here. But in places like California, places like New Mexico, places like Dallas, or I should say Texas, period. Come on. Let's be serious here. If you go down to Florida, what's Florida looking like? Are we going to sit here and pretend that this administration is great when he's put it in your head time and time again he does a press conference. He's putting it in your head that America is this great nation and we're doing everything right. And we're doing everything right by the book, which you are not. You are doing everything right by American people, which you are not. What does Africa? What does this all have to? What does Africa have to do with all this? I'm not following. Let's bless the Muslims. Good idea, right? Muslims didn't do anything to me. What Muslims are you talking about? There are different versions of different Muslims. See, this is what people do to like get a rise out of me. It's like you have to pinpoint out what Muslims you're talking about. The same thing that the immigrant talk. What immigrants are you talking about? Are you talking about African immigrants? Are you talking about Jamaicans? Are you talking about Haitians? Are you talking about Hispanics? Are you talking about Asians? Are you talking about which ones are you talking about? In this instance, are you talking about the Muslims here in the United States? Or are you talking about the Muslims out there? You know, there's the Muslim. We're considered Muslims in Temple number 7. We're considered Muslims. Are you talking about the Muslims with the tubs on their heads? Which ones are you talking about? There are many different types. Many different types. You gotta you can't do that. You have to be precise. You have to be precise, and you have to be precise in your language. What Pacific Muslims? And what does Africa have to do with anything? Doesn't look like Africa. Be grateful. What does that mean? What does all that mean? Either I think we've been spoiled. I think we've been spoiled. I think we've been spoiled to a point where Trump has definitely spoiled us with his mouth and not by his actions. I think we've definitely been spoiled by that. Well, what do you think? What do you think, Lisa? Barb, what do you think? You're my trustees. you you've been here before. I mean, one of them has a military husband, and one has actually served in the military. What do you think? You think we've been spoiled? I think absolutely we have been spoiled. Absolutely. No. Let me see.
President Trump has spent the better part of a year criticizing America's allies, tariffing them, hurling insults at their leader. President Trump has spent the better part of a year criticizing America's allies, tariffing them, hurling insults at their leaders, threatening to leave NATO, and ultimately saying that the U.S. doesn't need them at all. But now he's requesting assistance to secure the Strait of Hormuz, and he's not happy.
You can't do that. I totally forgot this whole time I was talking that he often accuses his allies of them not being there, and they should be there. Keyword should be there. Did you ask? They should be there. This is a 12-year-old. This is an 80-year-old man with a 12-year-old mind. And now he's asking for help. Let's go.
With their response.
We defend all these countries, and then do you have any minesweepers? And they say, well, would it be possible for us not to get involved? I've been saying it for a long time. This is the greatest thing to come out of this. We spend trillions and trillions of dollars on NATO to defend other countries. And I always said, but if it ever comes time to defend us, they're not going to be there. Many of them would not be there. And we're going to have to start thinking more wisely in this country.
Sources tell CNN that
if that's the case, I might as well just move to Africa then. But I don't have a passport. So if I have to live if he has to live in my mind, I can always, But I don't want to use that language. I don't want to use that language either. Damn! Y'all got me cleaning up language. Damn it! Let's just say my stomach hurts and I gotta use the restroom. By that time, he should be out of my mind. Get it?
U.S. officials spent the weekend trying to rally support from foreign allies, hoping that they could announce a coalition soon. But today, almost in the same breath of calling for help, Trump is insisting that he doesn't need anyone else to get the job done.
I don't do a hard sell on them because my attitude is we don't need anybody. We're the
We don't need anybody. Okay. All right. Cool. Go ahead. What's the saying? Do stupid things. You wait. You play stupid games. You win stupid prizes. That's Trump. You are an example of who shouldn't be. Have you don't what? You are the example of who shouldn't be here. Oh, I shouldn't be here. You don't stand for America. Now, Barb, this is the part where I go nuclear, but I'm not going to. I'm going to be in my Obama voice. You don't have any idea what you are talking about. I was born here in America, but just because I was born here in America doesn't mean I have to act and have the mindset of a so-called American. George Carlin had the prime example, set the prime example, and this is a white comedian who was less comedic and a little bit more politic, in my opinion. But he can definitely make you laugh. He said, I do this moron thing. And it's not America-like. It's called thinking. I am not a good America. This is his words, not mine. I am not a good America because I like to form my own opinions. And so, back to this. So, sir, since I don't stand for America, since I don't stand for, you're right, I don't stand for American ideology, the hunger, filth, war, disease, death, destruction, hunger, filth, poverty, racism, prejudiceness, hangings of fellow Black people, hangings of children, cutting off stomachs, cutting off children off a woman's wounds, using them for bowling balls, throwing them in the Nile River, throwing them for alligators to eat our babies. Yes, I don't like America. You're right. As a matter of fact, I burn their flags every single freaking day. America? Where's our 40 acres and a mule? Didn't we build this country through blood? Didn't we build this country through sacrifice? And you gonna have the nerve. You gonna have the nerve, the illegated gall to come into my chat room. And to you, the prime example, you shouldn't be here. You don't get America. You best be talking about somebody else. Almost had me in We-On-Loc mode.
strongest nation in the world. We have the strongest military by far in the world. We don't need that. But It's interesting. I'm almost doing it in some cases, not because we need them, but because.
Wait. Did you see that?
Trump says that some countries
Wait. Did you see that? Did you see that? Breaking news. Did you see that? Barb, Lisa, did you see that? Look at the lady's face.
We're the strongest nation in the world. We have the strongest military by far in the world. We don't need that. But it's interesting. I'm almost doing it.
Did you see her face?
Not because we need them, but because.
Did you see her face? Did you see her face when he said that? I'm going to rewind it again. I am going to rewind it again.
Nation in the world. We have the strongest military by far in the world. We don't need that. But
look at her face. Look at her face.
I'm almost doing it in some cases, not because we.
That's crazy. That is crazy. And I know you're not responding to me because it's a delay. It's like a 1 minute delay or something like that. Did you see the look on her face? She is livid. She is livid.
Need them, but because I want to find out how they react.
Now, Trump says that some countries have told him that they are eager to help, but we still don't know which ones he's talking about. And many allies have actually publicly rebuffed the president. Like Germany, for example, their defense minister is asking, quote, what does Trump expect a handful or two handfuls of European frigates to do in the Strait of Hormuz that the powerful U.S. Navy cannot do? This is not our war. We have not started it. It's hard to.
Shouts out to Germany. Shouts out to Germany. They said the one thing that makes sense.
2 handfuls.
What does Trump expect a handful or two handfuls of European to do in a stray of Hormuz that the powerful U.S. Navy cannot do? Ooh. This should be underlined. This is not our war. We have not started it. In other words, we ain't got nothing to do with what they got doing over there. And Trump all big and bad and bold. We're America. We don't need nobody else. But now all of a sudden you're asking for help. Okay, be dumb and go over there. No, you don't need no help, Trump. You don't need no help. Take your ass over there by yourself. And as a matter of fact, your youngest son is old enough. He can go over there and fight over there.
Of European frigates to do in the Strait of Hormuz that the powerful U.S. Navy cannot do. This is not our war. We have not started it. It's hard to get more blunt than that, Anna. And the president is also doing this, at least according to recent American history, particularly the lead up to the Iraq War, without doing this in advance. He's trying to cobble together a coalition after the fact. You can say what you will about how the Bush administration handled the Iraq War, but they went to Congress and got an authorization for military force. They went to the allies, put together a coalition of the willing, and then they went in.
As did Bush 1, as you will remember, when in Desert Storm, there was a UN-backed international coalition. Listen, Donald Trump hasn't made the case to the American people. We haven't so much as had an address to the American people about
get the likes up. Get the likes up.
All over the place. So it's hard to imagine that he has given a coherent explanation or pitch to the allies that, as you point out, he has been crapping on for over a year. You will remember how angry the Brits were earlier in the year when Trump called them a bunch of cowards, and they said, well, wait, we actually died for you all. We sent soldiers that died fighting alongside the United States. So it's no wonder that some of these international allies are looking at Trump and saying, You're on your own, buddy.
Yeah, and he criticized the Brits again today, and they did. I mean, okay, he just said in that clip, they've never come to our aid. They don't come to our aid. They don't come to our aid.
Yeah.
The UK specifically came to our aid and lost almost 800 of their countrymen for us.
Yeah. Look, free Iran is a good cause, but this war right now looks like a very bad strategy. And part of the thing is the reason that you try to be nice, the reason your parents raised you to be polite and be nice to people is because you never know who you're going to need to be your friend or when you're going to need a friend. He has managed to chase off all the people that used to like the United States. You can't even go anywhere in the world right now without people looking at you sideways just because of him. And now he's, baby, please, baby, please come back. It's like, dude, you blew it. This is not that you cannot go get somebody back. You treat them this badly.
Carrot stick. I mean, there's not much in the way of carrots these days.
I think he actually is trying to shame Europe. He wants to show the Americans who don't like the way he's handled NATO, don't like the way he's pressed NATO. He's trying to expose the fact that Europe is not a reliable ally. Now, I think they have been a reliable ally. They should be again. They're spending more on NATO than they had before. And of course, they should come to the United States president calls them. But I think he really is best prospects are in Asia. South
Hey, Barb, did I give you my email yet?
South Korea currently gets 70% of their oil through the Strait of Hormuz. Japan gets 40%. We have 50,000 troops in Japan and 35,000 in South Korea. The Japanese prime minister today implied that perhaps they could come and help patrol the strait. I think that's really where our alliance will end up being on this project. And I think Europe's going to look really weak and irrelevant when they do.
Will they? I mean, I actually, again, I want to go back also to just the basic premise. After the fact, we've already started the war. The strait is already closed. Iran is already bombing ships in the strait. We are now, after the fact, asking countries to come in and help us. And maybe Japan and maybe South Korea will. But the fact that they are being asked on the back end, and some of them are asking a basic question, how can they are democratic nations, how can they sell this to their people?
Look, I do think the president has to talk with our allies about what the long-term strategy here is. I think there is an argument to be made. I discussed this on your show 2 weeks ago about Iran, terror proxy groups, specifically focusing on China. 80% of their oil exports are purchased by China. That's a lot of cash inflowing into the Iranian regime to help terrorism continue. And so I think there's an argument that even our European allies would be open to if the president makes the case. I think the good side here, though, is there's been a lot of criticism about the president and our European friends. And I think the president is beginning to recognize the importance of the systems that the United States, quite frankly, built after World War II, the economic systems, the military systems. And so to me, I think that is one positive aspect of this. And I think our allies are open to listening to the president make a strong case, if he can, about the possibility of potentially going to their elected bodies and saying, hey, let's help our long-term friends, the United States, with this issue.
So if I'm hearing you correctly, you're saying that Trump is learning more about the importance of our
I think that's very evident.
Because he seems to be suggesting that this is evidence that he doesn't need to respect NATO anymore, that NATO is irrelevant.
Yeah, I'm not interpreting it that way. I think the reason he's coming to the conclusion that you want our British friends involved, you want our German friends involved. I think he said he spoke with Macron. He'll see what Macron has to say about this. To me, that's a recognition that when you have international conflicts such as this, you want to have your allies engaged with you. And I think that's a positive aspect of learning for the president.
I mean, yeah, well, listen, Trump has
has to do what the Khazars want him to do. And asking for help only strengthens the Khazars. It doesn't necessarily strengthen the U.S. because the U.S. is more mighty capable of handling this themselves, although it would be a very, very bad idea because right now you have troops dying over there. More than 200 U.S. soldiers are already gone. This is the reason why you write your death certificate right before you go into war. But the United States, they like war. They love it. They love every smelly, burnt, fleshing idea of it. Do you know what burnt flesh smells like? I do. I used to smell it every day at the hospital. In the ER when they're carving people and repairing this and they're doing surgery in there. I know what burnt flesh smells like. Do you know what dead bodies smell like? I've been through that too. Bruh, it ain't worth it. It ain't worth the price of admission unless you have a strategy, unless you have a plan to have these people come home safely. Now, it ain't guaranteed. Nothing is guaranteed. But to have these people go over there and sacrifice their lives over something that's meaningless, they're not doing that. Out, they would rather just resign. They would rather do that than be under this regime. Let's continue.
Please thought that he could fix things alone. He has said in his convention speech, I alone can fix it. This is how he goes about things. He believes he doesn't need help from anyone else. He wants the credit, but now he is realizing, and I think he's realizing only because of political pressure, only because gas prices are going up, only because he's finally getting he's getting some heat from the Republican Party and Americans as a whole, that he actually needs help getting out of this conflict. He doesn't know how to get out of this conflict. And if he actually cared about our allies, he wouldn't have gone after Greenland. He wouldn't have said that our allies were not in the front lines in Afghanistan. He wouldn't have gone on True Social to kind of disparage any ally on any given day. And he would have actually consulted with them at the start of this versus at the end. And Abby brings up a very good point. It's after the fact. And even then, it is very hard for him. It's not who he is to ask for help. It is an ego thing at this point. And even his back and forth and his rhetoric around this is very interesting. He understands in order to get out of this, he needs our allies. They're not willing to help him because this is not their war.
Well, we
this
don't
is
know.
a war that Donald Trump
Let me give you an example. I mean, the Germans are pretty clear. They're saying that the U.S. and Israel need to define when they consider the military aims of their deployment have been reached. We need more clarity here, he told reporters. Estonia's foreign minister said that no U.S. allies that U.S. allies in Europe want to understand Trump's strategic goals. What will be the plan?
That's a reasonable
reasonable to ask. And again, Trump, there was one point today where Trump,
I think Americans want to know.
Americans want to know too. At one point today, Trump was relaying a conversation that he had had with I believe it might have been the UK, where he was told basically, I'll get back to you. I have to go run this by my advisors, run this by people. And Trump's like, well, you don't have to do that. Well, actually they do. I mean, these are countries where the United States has not been this unpopular in over a decade, at the very least, right? So Trump is asking them to go defend the U.S. at a time when, as Van pointed out, Americans are not very popular, and Trump in particular is deeply unpopular.
Yeah, sure, that's perfectly fine. I mean, you look at the recent history, international history over the past 100 years, the United States have involved and engaged ourselves in many conflicts that we didn't necessarily start. The two quotes that you read, I didn't hear any of those leaders say absolutely not. No, we're not going to engage ourselves. I heard a quest for more details and specificity on what the ultimate aims are. And to me, that's not an unreasonable ask. And if I were advising the president, I would say, let's put together that strategic assessment. You can talk about the past, what we should have, could have done. Let's focus on it now and moving forward.
Look, if he had that to give to the Europeans, and then he should also give that to the United States, as Anna just said. Look, I mean, part of the problem here is that it's really a tragedy because the Iranian people have been suffering for 47 years. Their hopes got raised now twice that they might get free. When they went out, that we've been ready, fire, aim on one of the most important situations in the world. We pulled these economic levers to crash the economy and then have the protesters come out. That's the protesters come out. We say, stay in the streets, we'll help you. They get murdered.
30,000, I believe.
30,000 people murdered in 2 days. Our armada is on the other side of the world messing with Nicaragua.
It was actually Venezuela.
I'm sorry, yeah, it was Venezuela.
I wish it was Nicaragua.
Exactly.
President Trump putting ground troops in Iran is in so many ways the opposite of what he campaigned saying he was going to do. And there's real political risk for him.
There is political risk. I mean, we would have to see, as you know, President Trump has reserved that option, not taken it off the table, as no commander-in-chief would sort of take that entirely off the table. But what that would look like and how large a force and how specific a mission will all factor into how the politics play out. But to hear Elena say that President Trump and his team are applying a huge amount of pressure on these allies to get on board here, I think reflects the huge amount of pressure Donald Trump is under right now as it relates to the overall mission here. Economic pressure, political pressure, and all of his own choosing to go forward.
He wants to build an economic base. That's what he wants. Well, let me take that back. His predecessors wants to build an economic base. That's why Israel asked for the U.S. help in the first place. They're not going to sugarcoat this shit.
With this action and join with Israel on this. And so I think one side of the equation reflects what's happening on the other side.
Governor Walker, what was your sense of, the Republican Party has been...
So the crux of it all is he's ignorant. He's ignorant, and he's also tiring. People are getting tired of him. People are frustrated, and this is primarily this is the reason why people are leaving. People are resigning. Thank you, Mr. Kent, for showing true courage and leaving that letter for Mr. Trump and stating, I wish somebody would state to Mr. Trump, if you want to fight a war, go fight it yourself. We all know what's going on. America is not stupid. And I feel very sorry for these conservative nimrods out here. This is your president. If you like war so much, if you think he's doing an absolute good job, you go help Trump fight this war. We are not going.